What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. Nearly 24 hours left of the window after a few months of just transfer talk. We are approaching the end. And as you can see from the title, it seems like another incoming with Fabrizio Romano dropping a here we go with a medical booked for Lacroix, who should be coming. He should actually be in the UK right now, undergoing his medical test after a deal was agreed yesterday. Latest on Guehi, a massive update on his future, as well as Edouard, left wing back talk, and more. It's going to be a busy show. Make sure to get involved throughout the show by leaving down your thoughts in the live comment section. And if you're watching on replay, you could still get involved by leaving it in the comment section down below. But please, yesterday, first of all, before I even asked for this, yesterday, thank you to every single one of you. We hit over 300 likes. Incredible support. And it's been helping the channel grow by spreading it out to more people. So if you do enjoy the content today, people, please hit the like button and subscribe to know some future Palace content. Also, quick shout out before we get started with the news. Tomorrow, we will be doing a transfer deadline day show around 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. covering 3 hours of Palace talk. And hopefully it's just not a backup goalie, but we will be there. We have been there in the past. We'll be there having no, if there's nothing to go, and if it's quiet, then we'll still be there talking about something. There'll be something to talk about. T, how you doing, man? After that long intro with a bunch of admin updates, announcements, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. You had to do a lot of talking there, so I didn't know when I was going to get my chance.
You went on me. You might as well finish your monologue. But there's a few points. I don't want people to miss out on the deadline day show tomorrow.
For sure.
In fact, funny enough, people, in terms of the organization, I still have to organize it. I bet T didn't even know about it. That is happening tomorrow at 8 p.m.
I figured it was going to happen at some point. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, there's discussions. Here we go internally at Back of the Nest will be had. Contract extensions at Back of the Nest. Tomorrow we'll be discussing that. But yeah, so tomorrow we will be live, and hopefully there'll be a few players to talk about. Let's start off with the big news, an update, of course, on our defender Joachim Andersen replacement. Unfortunately for Newcastle fans who thought it might be a Guehi replacement, no, it never was. And he is traveling to the UK with Fabrizio Romano, as mentioned at the start of the show, giving us a here we go. Glasner's number one target all along to replace Joachim Andersen. And yeah, T, I mean, I spoke about it with Patrick yesterday. Medical booked. Here we go, sorted. The announcement with Palace, God knows, because Nketiah should have been announced. It hasn't. I'm not worried.
Interesting that I'm not worried. It's not one of the things you're not worried about, but you're just ready to see the announcement at this point,
Yeah.
I mean,
what about you? Your thoughts? Because I don't know. Have we spoke about Lacroix? Maybe we have the first day it was announced.
I feel like we did when we had a better idea.
Because yesterday it was the first, well, not the first time the fee has been mentioned before, but yesterday it was like, oh, look, the deal was finally agreed, and we've done a Carabao Cup draw.
But we also talked about it on the match preview. That's what it was.
Yeah. Which check that out after this. It is pinned, so you can check it out in the comment section down below. Oh, look who it is. Patrick giving us a super chat. That's like, I don't know how to describe it. A Spider-Man meme. Patrick giving a super chat to Back of the Nest. Just want to say you guys are fantastic.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I mean, $2 seems so small for Patrick. I mean, Patrick's a millionaire, so you would expect he'd, at least come on maybe $5. But hey, we appreciate it nonetheless.
Exactly. Thank you. But did you see the fantastique there?
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, that's the JP. Well, look, Patrick is still celebrating Palace News episodes. We'll see if JP celebrates his goals because that's been the talk point, right?
What a weird thing to talk about too. Like, what a weird why would that be the thing that he does to try to help him get a new contract?
I hope that's not the case. I hope because that would be one of the most childish things I've heard of 27-year-old.
That's silly. That's silly.
Stop his celebration because of contract talks, but only time will tell. Anyways, moving back to Lacroix, £50 million around that region. Plus, there'll be add-ons as well. Glasner's number one target, medical booked. T, for me, I mentioned it yesterday. I'm very happy with this for various different reasons. For those who haven't watched it yesterday, I'll quickly mention it again. 24 years old, has pace which Joachim Andersen lacked, has over 100 Bundesliga experience despite being young, has played under Glasner before, and previously when he was playing under Glasner, he was linked with top clubs because Glasner got the best out of him. So I think this is fantastic. Getting a younger player for around £15 million that fits the system, that knows the manager. I mean, what else can you ask for?
You can't ask for much. You can't ask for much. I mean, I think when it comes to worthy replacement, you know, you got a guy who's younger, yet highly experienced, that's more athletic, who puts in a good long ball as well. I mean, if people have watched him play, they'd see that he's a pretty good passer. I think the main thing that he needs to work on in his game is some of his decision making. Last season, 3 red cards. Only 1 red card the year prior to that. Really likes to tackle. Will slide in. So I think the one thing that I think Glasner will be definitely working with him on is some of his decision making. It seems like he'll be playing on the right side of the 3. I think we'll keep Guehi in the middle because Guehi does a really good job there, honestly. And being that Lacroix will be playing off the right, then hopefully he wouldn't find himself making as many rash decisions as he would if he was the middle guy. But, you know, very excited about it. Very excited about
it. Richards to the left, which
he's more comfortable with anyway.
To be fair, people, there's a news today which we're going to go through, but maybe Richards doesn't even get pushed to the left. We'll be talking about it down the show. As always, if you do have a question, put a Q&A dot before it. As you can see as well, hit the like button if you do enjoy the content. But yeah, I mean, we got here we go. We got the deal agreed yesterday. I think the finances, everything is great about this still. There's nothing really bad about this still. And for me, I think it's a case of now let's see if he is an improvement to Joachim Andersen, because I do think he could be. I think he could be an improvement to Joachim Andersen in terms of what he can offer to the side. So yeah. So if he reaches his potential, then we've got a fantastic defender for very low price. So don't be surprised in a few years' time if he gets rumored with a move away from Palace, especially with a fee that low, because I mean we can easily flip that money, which we've done, and we've shown that we can make a profit on these players. Now let's move on to Mark Guehi, who has been linked with a move for about a month or so, and the best way of describing the whole saga is headache. I don't know what you lot think. Let me know in the chat. But as expected, I guess the Guehi deal looks to be off. Panic buttons. Take your hands off them. It seems like the deal is off, according to John Percy from the Telegraph, who's meant to be a very reliable source. Guehi to Newcastle sounds highly unlikely at this stage, with Crystal Palace sticking to their valuation of around £70 million. Alex Crook, I don't know how, I mean, he's from TalkSport. He's meant to be a good source as well. He's saying that Palace are now asking for £75 million for Guehi because it's so late in the window. I think the Guehi deal possibility ended for me anyways after Joachim Andersen left. And if it didn't, then serious questions needs to be asked, because I know it's not even now, but why on earth would we even, consider selling Guehi after selling Joachim Andersen? You don't want to lose 2 out your starting back 3, especially with Guehi's talents and potential. There's nothing bad to say about Guehi. He's our best defender. And yeah, like we need to keep him. It seems like we are keeping him. And I mean, it's just a sigh of relief, I guess. Or I don't know how you're feeling. It's like, finally, it's over. I don't want to hear about Guehi to Newcastle. He was open to a move there. And a lot of Newcastle fans were entitled. They came in our comments as well. They were entitled about Guehi joining Newcastle because it's a step up. With all due respect, and Newcastle might be a step up, but Guehi is bigger than Newcastle. So don't take your frustrations out on us. Take it out on your director of football, Paul Mitchell, because I don't know why he was going after Guehi for this long. You could have easily set a deadline and said, you know what, Palace, you got week. This is our final offer. Take it or leave it. But it just seems so amateurish from their side. I've heard Guehi's doing his medical. I've heard it's edging closer. I've heard everything about Mark Guehi. Every single thing about Mark Guehi. But the one thing that Newcastle didn't do was actually pay the price that we wanted. I think it's been a shambles from them. I think Newcastle fans should be frustrated. And if they ain't, then I mean, I would be as a Newcastle fan, because it seems like you're not bringing in another defender because it's dragged on this long. It's just pathetic. The whole saga has just been pathetic. Guehi was open to a move to Newcastle. I'm not denying that. But he was not desperate. He was not on his knees to move to Newcastle. He was just open to a move to Newcastle. And what's going to happen now is the big thing is we'll see if he has a release clause, a new contract and release clause. But if he doesn't, he leaves for cheaper next summer, which I'm not against having another year of Mark Guehi at the football club. Because, you know, he's going to be very important to us this season. He is, alongside Lacroix. So I think we've done the right decision, even though we're going to take a hit in terms of the price tag, unless we do a miracle and sign him onto a new contract. But he will join Liverpool, someone along them lines, next summer. So I think it'll help everyone involved. I think it will help everyone involved in the long term. But for you, T, Guehi, talk to me. Actually, before you do, thank you so much, Engin, for the super chat.
Thank you, Engin. Appreciate that.
On me. Thank you so much for that. So tomorrow on deadline day, Engin's providing the snacks. Really appreciate it as well. But
absolutely.
Talk to me, T. Guehi.
I mean, you can't not say as a fan that you're not relieved. And there's not a sense of relief that comes with it, to be honest with you. A saga, to say the least. Very dragged out. This is one of those things that makes you not want to take any 1, 2, 3 reports seriously. Like, there were so many reports, and all of them were pretty much wide of the mark, incorrect. You know, like, it's just one of those things that, yes, very happy it's over with. Great that we're keeping him. I agree with what you said about the fact that, you know, when we got rid of Anderson, in my mind, it eased my mind a lot about the fact of Mark Guehi staying. Now, I think for a lot of people, there's the piece of, well, the fact that he hasn't extended his contract yet, and that, you know, he stands to leave next summer at a discounted rate. But right now, obviously, we have his value at 75 to 80 million. That's obvious based on the negotiations with Newcastle. So if next summer he goes for half of that, you still profited over twice what we paid for him in the beginning, and have enough capital to then go and bring somebody else in to replace him that could be young, successful, talented, similar to what we're seeing right now with Maxence Lacroix. And I wouldn't be against that at all. I think we're doing it the smart way. I think we're doing it the right way. And who's to say that Mark Guehi doesn't extend with us? He's still part of our team, so that means we still have time to negotiate and to try to get things right and to try to make it worth his while. Who knows what this season has in store for our team and what it can do for the future. And, you know, we've put ourselves in the best situation, I believe, moving forward to be successful. That's just my thoughts.
Exactly. The most important thing is success. I mean, we can get caught up on the money side of things. Oh, it's worth this much. Oh, you know, we're going to lose out on money next season. But what are we all here for as fans? That money is not coming in our pockets. So it's like, I want the best players at Crystal Palace. And with me, I was open to Guehi leaving. But after Anderson leaving, I thought that was going to be a bit too much, regardless of the price. Mm-hmm. And what we have to do now, and the good thing is we've got a manager, is prove ourselves to the likes of Guehi why you should stay a bit longer. And that's going to be a huge task. But this is a massive but. Let's say we have a good season and we manage to, I don't know, push on to European spots. Then he might be open. But that's a massive but. We need to, I mean, it's going to be very hard this season. Mm-hmm. But we have to basically prove ourselves to these players. And the best way of doing that, in terms of looking up the table, is by keeping your best players. There's a reason why, you know, Guehi, he's highly rated. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy that it's finally over. I mean, it was over, in my opinion, as I mentioned, when Anderson left. But, I mean, the rumors still kept coming in. And there was talks about Palace significant chance we're going to accept the offer, etc. It's just tiring, man. It's tiring talking about Guehi and just the whole narrative around it. It's
that one and Jez, those two sagas were pretty exhausting. And then worst of all, I think I just had this feeling that Jez is in a bad situation at Sheffield, man, and that makes me even more pissed off about everything that we went through in that saga for him to go there and things not go well.
Yeah. But there's still more defenders that we're going to be talking about today. And in fact, let's talk about the next defender, which is another centre-back, people. And it's not going away. According to The Athletic, Trevor Chalobah is hopeful of securing a loan move before the end of the window. Crystal Palace and Stuttgart are monitoring the situation. As I've said, when it comes to deadline day, especially with Chelsea, I think there's going to be opportunities there.
Yeah.
While, the time is ticking off. Chalobah is one of them because they literally said to him, we don't want you to be part of this team. They froze him out from the tour, didn't allow him to go to the American tour and let him stay at home. But a loan move, T, would you want this on top of Lacroix?
I don't need it. I would say that. I'd be fine if it didn't happen. But if it does, so be it. I welcome it now, and I'm going to support the club, support Trevor Chalobah as our player. Do I feel like we need it? No. Do I feel like it's going to be one of the things that we're going to be prioritizing toward down the stretch? I don't think so. I would be a little more, I guess, disappointed if, say, for instance, we brought in a Trevor Chalobah at the window before the close of the window, and we didn't get any wingback cover and or another like a left-sided 10 or left-sided attacker. You know what I mean? If we got Chalobah and not one of those two things, I would be disappointed because I feel like the priorities are a little bit off.
Yeah, but I think Chalobah opens the door for that. I mean, it shouldn't really impact. Maybe it does slightly, but if it's a loan move, in terms of the finances involved, I guess we'll probably have to pay a loan fee and cover his wages. But it should open up the door of maybe getting a left wing back on top because it's not a permanent deal. You could have.
Well, I mean, possibly. I mean it more so to say that if we are focusing our efforts more, like let's be honest, we don't have this huge network of people that are working and getting things done. You know what I mean? Obviously, the way that we work, we tend to do one deal at a time. You know, we don't see a lot of simultaneous deals being struck. So I guess the way I'm looking at it is if we spend time, effort, resources, and allocations to bring in Trevor Chalobah before the deadline ends, that means that we're not using time, effort, allocations, and resources to bring in left back cover.
Deals at the same time.
But when do we do that? That's what I'm saying.
We haven't this week. Yeah, we haven't. Well, I don't know.
It's been like it's the way it's been reported. The way it's been reported, it's been like more like one at a time. And from our past as a club, you don't see too many like boom like simultaneous deals. It's just not something that we really do. And I'm wondering if it's more because of the fact that, like I said, we're not at Chelsea where we've got a huge scouting and department and people doing deals and negotiations. You know, we're a smaller organization, smaller unit, so things will happen, you know, short. I mean, for the same reason why we don't just turn around and, you know, introduce and announce a guy as soon as the deal's done, like other clubs may do. You know, things take time. So all I'm saying is I would welcome Trevor Chalobah's move to the club for sure if it happens, because obviously there's a priority or some type of prioritization or there. But I think for me, there would be some disappointment if we didn't get something like the wingback cover in or a left-footed attacker, just because I feel like those things are important too.
I think Chalobah.
He definitely does.
I think Chalobah, Guehi, and Lacroix. I think that is a brilliant back three. The reason for that, Chalobah has pace, Lacroix has pace, and we know Guehi has pace. So on the counter where we've struggled a few times, I think Chalobah adds to that. I think Richards also has pace as well, but I think Chalobah right now with his experience, I would take Chalobah over Richards. I mean, if we can get a left wing back and a centre back sorted, I think that is fantastic. But question is, can we? But I'm not putting this off. I think Chalobah could still be a smart move. You never know, T, because we're going to talk about left wing back. So there is some positive news there. But it could be an option where we try for a left wing back and there's no time for deal or no potential for deal. So, you know,
and that's a real thing.
Then. So yeah. So I'm not against it. And I think it's one to keep an eye out for tomorrow. I really do think that because Chalobah, he cannot stay at Chelsea. And if I'm him, I'm preferring to move to Palace over Stuttgart because of, you know, playing in the Premier League. But that's my Palace bias. I don't know what he's thinking.
And it's one of those things, like you said, I feel like there are two teams that as we move closer to the deadline are really going to be in that fire sale mode. Chelsea's one of them and Lyon is the other, just because they're both going to be up against some pretty serious financial ramifications if they don't move guys.
Yeah. Kyle, and I think this is a very good point as well that I haven't mentioned, but it was in the back of my mind, saying, agree, it shouldn't be the priority, but you're being proactive for a Guehi replacement next summer. I think that's true. I think that's very true. Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
That's a very good point, Kyle.
It improves our team this season. We have a year with him and Guehi at the football club, and next season we can get him on a permanent deal once Guehi does leave. So
because we have ourselves in a situation where we're not having to go and hope we find a replacement, knowing that we have one in place.
Yeah. In terms of the Lacroix medical, it should have been today.
I saw stuff that it's already done.
I believe that he came over here around the morning time. So I don't know whether it's been completed or not, how many stages there are, because with Venketa yesterday we mentioned there was 2 parts in the medical. So yeah. But you know, we've got a here we go. So that should be sorted. Talking about a left wing back, Kostic, who from Juventus, of course, has been mentioned quite a few times, according to Tutto, Juve, Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Al Ahly, I believe, are in a three-way battle for Kostic. Juventus are asking around 7 to 8 million euros, but could accept less. I mean, we're talking around 5 million pounds, around that region, or could be lower than that. Yeah. The question that I have, and I asked you this as well, is with Southampton and a Saudi club involved, in terms of the wages and contract, can we compete with them in terms of maybe Southampton might offer a longer contract or more money to try and entice a player? With Saudi, I mean, with money, we can't compete with them. If they want a player, then they can have it. But that's my main question mark around it. I think in terms of a move, I think it makes the most sense for him out of the 3 clubs to come to us in terms of being the most competitive. We should be more competitive than Southampton in the league this year, and the Premier League is more competitive than the Saudi league. But I have question marks about, you know, it's not the fee involved, it's about the wages and what's best for Kostic. Because at 31 years old, you'd want maybe a longer contract. So if a club offers 2 years deals and then we offer a year, would you rather take the 2-year deal? So I don't know. What do you think about the situation?
Yeah, man, it's a tough situation, and I think when it's one of those things that it's really going to come down to what Kostic prefers. Does he want to go to an LIE where he can, you know, he can get a lot of financial security, maybe a little bit longer of a deal because he can afford to play longer in a less competitive league? Does he go to Southampton where maybe he can get the money in the years and maybe he gets a little bit more playing time? Or does he come to Palace where it's understood that he's going to be deputizing behind a guy like Tariq? He may only get maybe a 1 year, maybe a 1+1 type of deal, but he's going to get to play under Oliver Glasner again, who literally changed his career trajectory when he changed him from a forward to a wingback. So, you know, it's a lot of things that kind of are out there in limbo, so to speak, that could make a difference. I think
it would be very good depth to have him at the football club. He's got experience, of course, the age factor and people talking about his legs. I think he's still got enough in the tank to get us, goals and assists. He's played in that position as you mentioned. He knows Glasner as well, so I think this could be a very smart signing at left wing back. I honestly look, for example, if Kostic is playing instead of Mitchell in a cup game, that's good. That's a good player. Like, it's not a downgrade. And that is what we need. For example, down the right-hand side, it's going to be hard because Munoz, of course, is highly talented. But I think there is a kind of a shift in terms of what we can expect from Klein to Munoz. And down the left, we need a backup for Mitchell. And I think with the fee involved, and as we've said, deadline day, opportunity, they want to get rid of him. And they're saying, even the report suggested that they could take less for him. I think we should be all over this. We should.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
be
saying.
a good move for us.
If you're going to have a Chalobah loan and still have, money, I mean, the money involved is very minimal. Have money left for Kostic, I think that would be very good business to bring in 2 defenders potential on deadline day. So yeah, I think we're going to try a few things on deadline day. I don't think it's going to be just purely quiet. I mean, we have to replace Sam Johnston, who nothing's come out today, but he had his medical yesterday at Wolves, so he's going to be gone. So deadline day, you might see, maybe a surprise player being mentioned as well. What was this? Zaha to Lyon. Per Ornstein. Has Ornstein actually did that? I'll be shocked if he has. But yeah, T. In terms of tomorrow, what are you looking for? We got more news right now to cover, but I want to Zaha to Lyon. Exclusive.
What?
1 minute from Ornstein, yeah.
Yep, it says Zaha close to making a shocking deadline transfer to Lyon. Olympic Lyonnais nearing agreement with Galatasaray on a season-long loan for the 31-year-old would avoid tax issues complicating return to the UK when we were interested in him.
Wow. Zaha to Lyon. I think that would be a smart bit of move for him as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good move for them, and especially because Lyon, like I said, they're trying to offload money right now. So spending money to bring somebody in isn't a good thing for them while they're also trying to offload guys. So what do? You find a guy who you know is good enough to play in your league, and like you were kind of asserting with Trevor Chalobah, you bring him in on loan, so you're not putting out a big money outlay to affect what you're trying to do with, offloading guys. I mean, we've heard that, Orel Mangala is about to go to Everton, and Nuama is of interest to other clubs and things. So it's like, they stand to be able to bring in a really good player and not have to put out a lot of money to get them.
Yeah, I think that's a smart bit of business. Let's see what happens with that. That's kind of a shock. I didn't really expect him to be at Galatasaray come end of the window, because it just doesn't make any sense for both parties. And yeah, if you can find his way back to France, which is close, of course, to home, to the UK, that would be a good move for him. But yeah, I mean, we've got more Palace stuff to talk about, but I'll be happy with that because
wow.
What?
Zaha to Lyon.
Yeah, it's crazy. By the way, about Shirky, there's a few mentions. Yesterday, we did talk about the latest report. I believe he basically had 3 options. I can't remember the exact options, but something along the lines of, if he doesn't sign a new deal. It was
new deal. It was new deal. Not play into your contract, not play until his contract was over, or the fact that Lyon said we will accept any offer of 15 million euros that we get from any team. Yeah,
basically, you either find a club that fits into the 50 million euro package that they want, or if you don't sign a new contract and you want to stay here, we will not play you for basically the entirety of the time. So I think he's now considering signing an extension at Lyon. But yeah, I mean, I said it to Patrick yesterday. We spoke about it on here as well. I don't understand why he's so against moving to the Premier League. I don't know. But yeah, it's looking difficult in that aspect. And there isn't much number 10s really left that, we've been linked with. Sterling is off. Carney's off. Shirky seems difficult. So yeah, let's see if any other names get mentioned tomorrow. But talking about forwards, let's talk about Edouard, who has been linked with a move to Ipswich Town. And according to Mr. Dom Smith, Ipswich have looked at Edouard of Crystal Palace, and he's high up on their list of alternatives. He's not understood to be their favored choice. Palace, meanwhile, will listen to any official bids for Edouard. And the key thing about this, people, that we're going to keep your eye out on this in particular, is because Ipswich, who were after Chelsea's Broja, that deal has collapsed. So they need another forward. So Broja is not joining Ipswich Town. So Edouard, he's high up on their list. He's not their favorite choice, but if the favorite choice doesn't work out and they have to get a player in, maybe in the UK, that move could happen. That move could happen, which would be good. But interesting though, Ipswich Town. That's the big thing. High up on Edouard, high up on their list for Olsen Edouard, and also they might listen to from Palace perspective, official bids for Edouard. So that still is not over. It seems like we're still trying to move him on.
Yeah, I mean, and as we should with bringing in Eddie Nketiah, I think we need to deal with I'd say Edouard accordingly. Number one, because of the fact that we would have a crowded striker room, along with the fact that by moving Edouard and hopefully recouping something from him, it takes away from the blow of the slightly higher amount that we pay for Nketiah. What we're seeing, like $20 million buy obligation in some of the stuff with Ipswich. You get that $20 million, then the purchase of Eddie Nketiah looks a lot better for us because it comes in a lot lower. You know what I mean? So, so it makes sense. I guess the things that are, a little bit sticky to navigate with the whole Edouard thing is his contract and making sure that there's the extension that's put in order for him to go on the loan and then still be with us after it.
Yeah. What do we think, people? What's going to happen with Edouard? Let's have some wild predictions. I mean, tomorrow we're going to be on Transfer Deadline Day show. We're going to be talking about it. I'm pretty sure it will be mentioned again. Hopefully we try till the last minute to find a move for him. But what's our predictions? Any wild predictions for Olsen Edouard? For me, Ipswich makes sense. Ipswich make a lot of sense to me. A lot of sense. The only problem is his contract. That's the only question. Whether we can get that solved in time, I think potentially a loan move to Ipswich could be sorted. But yeah, that is my prediction tomorrow for Edouard. I do think he leaves. Andrew's saying Edouard probably go out on loan, best option. Yeah, I think so as well. I think tomorrow it'll be a bit hard to find a permanent move. Maybe we can, but a loan move to Ipswich, it sounds good. Even if we can get rid of his wages for the year, that would be good in terms of saving money in that aspect. Red saying, I want to sell Edouard. Could be a January sale. Then again, I don't think we should be keeping him till January. I don't know. I don't think we should be keeping him till January, especially if there's interest. Edouard is staying, says Gurav. Mine saying Edouard has had his chance, but we need to move on now. I'll take 12 for Edouard, so 20 would be beautiful. Looney saying, I bet you West Ham going for him last minute at a reduced offer of 12 million or something. That would be crazy. Would you be open to selling him to a club like West Ham, who have been rumored to be after a striker before the window closes? I think Tammy Abraham was the latest one, but that's not going to happen.
I guess with that, it's really got to be the right price. I'm not going to just give them a deal. You know what I mean? They're going to have to really make it work for us financially. It's got to be right for us financially, for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. But yeah, West Ham, would they be after Edouard? Were they linked with Edouard before we got him?
I've never seen West Ham connected with him personally.
Never.
That's not to say they haven't been. I haven't seen them, at least in this window. I can't think of.
Not a bad shout to be fair from Eds and Edouard to Forest. Since Nketiah deal collapsed, we know they need a striker. That's not a bad.
Yeah, because they had their deal. They had two deals fall apart. The Edouard deal, and they had the Nketiah deal, and then the Santiago Jimenez deal fell apart too, along with I think a Brazilian striker. So Nottingham have had some issues with getting the striker over the line. So maybe that's a call you make just to, feel out how they might think about it. So
Yeah. Look, people, there's nearly 200 people watching us live. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like button. I'm looking right now. We're on 87 likes. I know we can hit over 100 in the next minute or so. If you could do that and you're enjoying the stream, that would be much appreciated. And talking about Forest and strikers, Nketiah was, of course, very close to a move there. However, an interesting report has come out from Sammy Mokbel, who's saying Eze was key to Nketiah moving to Crystal Palace, using a strong relationship to make Nketiah choose Palace over Forest. That is very good to hear. I mean, we've seen photos of them two together after games, even when with Eze playing for Palace and Nketiah playing for Arsenal. They played each other at youth level. That connection is going to come a long way. And it's good to see Eze pulling strings like that and stopping. I mean, we've heard of Glasner speaking to Nketiah. Now, Eze as well, T. It seems like everyone at the club has just wanted him. There's a clear indication that, you know, we do think that he can take us a step forward, which some people disagree. You're on mute.
I feel like we'd be okay. He could take us forward, but you know.
What?
I think we'll be okay. Let me say that.
What? On what? Nketiah?
Yeah, I think we'll be okay with Nketiah. Like I like him as a player. You know, I think the only thing that really is up in the air about him is just the fact that he hasn't had a substantial amount of, you know, sustained starting game time.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
but when he has, he's produced, which is great to see. Not to mention the fact that he is always available. He doesn't have a injury history like we saw with, like, say, a ESR. That didn't exist. You know what I mean? So I think that similar to what Ed is saying right here, I think that Nketiah is an upgrade on Edouard.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I agree with
that.
Well.
And now I'm not saying that he's better than or is going to replace JP by any means, but I think he's going to push JP. I think he could play with JP, and that's important, I think. So.
Yeah. Look, I'm excited. I'm excited by this move, and it's good to see, you know, that we're bringing a player which Eze knows and also Eze wants at the football club. So that's a positive step as well in terms of Eze's future at the football club. I'm not saying Eze is going to stay because we brought in Nketiah, but clearly they think something could be done here at Palace, which you know, we're not far off. We're not far off to having that squad complete in order to push up the table, which, I mean, we desperately want and need under this manager. But yeah, I think that was a good point to mention today after all the negativity that's been going around this window, that the fact that Eze and Glasner were involved in bringing Nketiah at the football club. And Eze, of course, is our creative player. So, you know, that's good that he's got a player in terms of football friends. There's that, and also a player that could help him out, bring in, you know, the best out of his game potentially. Another report, and this is on Chad Riyadh, is that he suffered a ligament injury which could require a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks on the sidelines, although the full diagnosis is unconfirmed yet. So we're talking about nearly 2 months on the sideline. And I think for this reason, that Chalobah move makes even more sense. Bringing in another defender on loan, because that's a decent amount of time. We're talking about, you know, September, October, potentially end of October, till we see him mid to end of October. But of course, it hasn't been fully confirmed yet. But that is the predictions right now.
Now, yeah, I mean, the thing is, and this is me speaking from experience. You know, I torn 2 ACLs, 1 in each knee, and knowing what that recovery process is like and things. If it is in fact his MCL, we definitely dodged a big bullet. The MCL is a much more manageable injury as far as recovery time. I'm guessing that the 6 to 8 that they're talking about right now would either be a partial tear or a sprain of the MCL. Usually that's kind of like the timeline for those to recover. If it's a complete tear of the MCL, it's usually more like between 8 and 12 weeks for a complete tear. But even with the complete tear in the MCL, it usually doesn't require surgery, which is a great thing, because unlike the ACL or PCL injury, those are going to require surgery 9 times out of 10. The MCL itself has a really nice blood supply. Yeah, I've been through it. The MCL, the reason why it doesn't need surgery is because it has a really good blood supply in the knee. So even though, it may only take a couple months, he would be very, very fortunate for that to be the situation in comparison to other things that could have happened.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not as serious as suggested, but we've got the international break, so that's a week anyways, that's gone. But after this, probably a bit of time to get back up to speed. Just so unfortunate for him to get injured at this time, but shows why, we need to bring in Lacroix and keep in Mark Guehi. That's the reason why, because depth there could easily, that's why you need a strong squad. We've seen it with different areas of the pitch, midfield, up front, etc., where you don't have the depth. You bring in, I don't know, a Jeffrey Schlupp for Eze, and the drop off is massive. And so we need to make sure we bring in Lacroix coming in. We'll see if Chalobah comes in or not, but I'm more happy with a move for Chalobah if this is the case. It takes a bit more pressure off Riyadh as well, whilst they're still adjusting to life in the Premier League. But look, people, I was going to get onto the question, but thank you, Adam, for the super chat. Keep up the great work, guys. Really appreciate it all. By the way, if you're just joining us now, we will be live tomorrow around 8 p.m. for Transfer Deadline Day special, about 3-hour stream. So trust me, I'm pretty sure we'll be talking a bit more than just Palace, unless it's a crazy deadline and we're just keeping you up to date. But all of the news will be here. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. So please make sure to join us tomorrow for the Deadline Day special. Now, let's go through some of the questions. As always, if you do have any questions, put a Q and a dot before it. Super chats get priority as normal. Let's start off with Leon's question. Any news on Shirky, which we already gave an update on that. He's got 3 options, but it's looking very unlikely at this point. The dog. Has our squad improved from last year, in your opinion?
I believe so.
The squad. I think so. The squad has. I mean, losing Elise is massive, but if we're talking about the squad, got rid of Ayu, brought in Sarr. We added another defender in Riyadh, kept Guehi, bringing in Lacroix, which I think will be an improvement to Anderson, especially in the long run. Kamada coming in, I think, was solid addition. Nketiah, I'm excited about him as well. I think he's an upgrade on Edouard. He will be an upgrade on Edouard in terms of his overall game. Yeah, I think so. I think we've improved on a squad from last year. I think squad is very important. When you talk about squad, it's different to the starting 11.
And at the same time, there's really there's a discussion to have about the starting 11 piece, because I think the natural thing is to say, oh, well, you don't have Michael Elise in your starting 11. True, but you also now have somebody like Lacroix in your starting 11 rather than Nathaniel Klein. And you also have Decore back.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a discussion to be had.
I think Elise is a big loss there. I really think Elise is a big loss. I think I agree with this. Squad, yes. Starting 11, no. And the thing is, I don't think we can improve the starting 11 much further than what we had last year. I don't. You were starting Will Hughes in the center of the pitch.
No,
but I'm talking about in terms of the players we already have at the football club.
Oh, just that we have.
Yeah. I don't think we could have really improved the starting 11. If you kept Elise and Decore came back from injury, I mean, you would have had Decore, Wharton, Elise, Eze, Mateta, Guehi, maybe, I don't know. We'll see with the defense. With Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking like fully unavailable, then probably not.
Yeah. But I think the squad, yes, we have improved it. And let's see how much further we do improve it. Losing Sam Johnston, maybe that's not maybe that's going to be a downgrade, but I think that's a natural downgrade, a downgrade that probably needs to happen. You can't really.
Because having 2 starting caliber goalkeepers doesn't benefit you as much as it does with like having 2 starting caliber strikers. You know what I mean?
You know what? This is a good question to ask tomorrow in the 3-hour stream, because we're gonna have 3 hours to talk about stuff. So tomorrow we could be discussing this. So if you have any questions on that caliber, just try to save it for tomorrow. It'll be better. Because today we have to rest up. Tomorrow's gonna be a busy day, hopefully, anyways. So yeah, we'll talk about just like, basic questions. Jeff Schlupp, a left winger back. Technically, yes, but no. No, for me, he's not. We shouldn't be relying on Schlupp as a left wing back option. It's in the same line as Nathaniel Klein as a right wing back option. It's not good enough.
I mean, we never played him there anytime prior to now. I don't see why that would start all of a sudden, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Any news on Gossens? That was another possibly. Still think it might be if we fail getting Kostic. I think their manager spoke about it, and he's kind of happy with him remaining at the football club. I think that's a bit difficult, but it's been quiet. There's nothing that's been new about him coming to the football club. It's just pretty much been Kostic today.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Guzan is Guzan wants to play. He's still very.
Do you reckon he could take Mitchell's spot if he was to come?
I don't know. I haven't watched enough of him to say whether or not he could. I think
age doesn't really help.
Yeah, age doesn't really help. I mean, he's older. I know he's not as good of a defender as Ty is for sure. I know he's a better attacker, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Let's see. Is Nketiah fit and ready to play? Yes, he should be. He's coming with no injuries from Arsenal, from all I know.
Yeah, he played the full preseason.
Exactly. However, a good shout out moment from Twisted is that we've already discussed this, whether Nketiah should be playing against Chelsea in the match preview, which link is pinned in the live comment section where you can click on it and be redirected to that when we wrap up in the next few minutes or so. So yeah, we did discuss that. We in fact discussed whether we should change the system for Nketiah to fit him in for Chelsea, or even just new signings. Is it a bit too quick to bring them into the side and more? So yeah, and make sure to check out the match preview. I know the opposition preview dropping tomorrow at around 5 p.m. as well. Surely a backup keeper is way more important tomorrow if Johnson goes. Yeah, it is important, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I'm not even considering that. I think with backup goalie, I think that's going to be pretty much sorted. So yeah, agree with that. Do we want a cam or a left wing back? I think that's a very good question. For me, right now, I'd say the left wing back probably takes priority over Cam. With Nketiah coming.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I think that is the case. But let us know in the chat what you lot think as well. Twist is saying, what's the pros and cons of managers buying ex-players they worked with? I mean, the pros are that they know the players. The players know what the manager expects from them. So the fitting in process shouldn't be too long. The cons are, if something goes wrong, then you have a lot of ex-players which the managers bought, and it might not fit the next manager. So I think with the players that we're buying, there hasn't been any signs that we're going out of our model with just suiting Glasner's needs. I think we've signed Nketiah that fits Glasner and that fits us. Lacroix, same thing in terms of age and the price involved. Kamada, free transfer like we've done with Lerman last year for a decent player who might need a bit of time. So I think from what I've seen this window, of course, some of these players are Glasner players that we're bringing to the football club, but I feel like they also help us in the long run, especially with a few players. I mean, with Commander, there's no risk involved, and there's still potential to get a few, a bit of money off Kamada if he performs well in the future. So yeah, I think there's the pros and cons. Oh geez, there's more questions. So Leon's saying, who's the attacking midfielder from West Brom we've been linked with? Tom Fellows.
Yep. He's
linked with us once, but nothing.
Wide midfielder, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Wide. Left, right midfielder, something like that.
Yeah, let's see what happens with that. Puppy saying, will Teo be trusted to step up next season? Haven't seen much of him.
And that's going to be a hard thing to say because he's got a long-term injury too. So,
and the fact that he's not really,
and he's not really at a competitive level as far as things like.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd say where Teo is right now, he's more on track to be sold to a lower level team than being integrated into the first team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's the situation with Teo. I don't know what's gone wrong, but he was highly rated, but a bit weird in terms of his career path at Crystal Palace. I'm just looking at any other bits of news. No, because normally what happens is when we're live, more news starts dropping.
What happened to your special news? I thought you had some special news or something, some insider special news. What happened with that?
That was for our chat. That was for our chat.
Okay.
For our chat. But look, people, we're gonna be here tomorrow for Transfer Deadline Day special. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe to Normal Sound Future Palace content. And tomorrow should be an interesting day. Hopefully a busier day than we've seen in the past, especially with deadline days. So yeah, rest up, and we'll all see you tomorrow, hopefully with a few additions and confirmed signings. So until then, up the Palace.
The Palace.